You're listening to the Online Radio Network. This is Paul Shepherd speaking. This is the first of our series of special presentations on the changing tax environment. The Australian Taxation Office's new strategy is centred around the use of technology to be able to answer just one question. What does the information lodged with the ATO really mean? In an interview in October 2014, the Second Commissioner of Taxation, Jeff Leeper, talking at the Smithing 2020 ATSA conference, said that the ATO is no longer, and they're talking about business, but it filters through to the individuals, but the ATO is no longer interested in whether the business financial data figures presented to them are accurate or right, as he calls it. He said this processing task, of course, was performed by the accountants, which is called the compliance work. The ATO said that the ATO no longer considers this red tape, which he says is worth $500 million, is necessary. His reasons were then revealed. He told the conference that there are lots of things happening out there in the economy with companies, company accounts and intermediary arrangements that we don't need them to re-key the information. We can just draw the information for them from the natural business systems. He said that's a win for us. Sure is. Jeff Leeper said later in that interview that he revealed what is his vision of the way ahead. Jeff said, we have to get over this view of is the tax right and have a conversation about what does the data mean. Jeff said that when in government, any financial data presented to me, I don't want to have a conversation about whether the data is right. I want to have a conversation about what does the data mean. Now that's okay if you're an experienced accountant and Jeff is your boss and you hand things to him on a face-to-face basis and you can discuss things at the time to avoid any misunderstandings, but that's not going to be the case. The problem is the ATO's new approach is dealing directly with clients who are in most cases not experienced tax accountants, rather than dealing with an intermediary like an accountant like us. The information that may have been incorrectly reflected in the business's financials if they're doing it themselves, because it may not be fully understood by the business owner. Now this would not be clear as there's no personal direct communication between the ATO and the business owner, as the data is being entered and lodged with the ATO as it would be if it was a normal business situation between a boss and the staff. So this way of doing things by the ATO is going to create a situation where the business produces misleading financial data and so produces an incorrect view by the ATO about how the company is performing. This may result in unnecessary audit action by the ATO and great stress and hardship to clients. And that's for business. It's the same thing with individuals. People will be lodging their tax returns and really it is misleading without having the knowledge that an accountant have. So the answer to the ATO's question about what does the data mean in all these cases can come down to one word: confusion for both the client and the ATO. Now, the next thing is, what was the reason to go this way? Well, this strategy is designed to deliver the government's objective of red tape reduction. It was estimated that they're going to save $650 million. And as Jeff Leeper said, we recognise that most of that money, $500 million, will come from savings of professional fees by encouraging taxpayers to not deal with the accountants, but deal directly with the ATO when they're lodging their tax returns. As said many times by the ATO senior officials, this new strategy by the ATO fits in very well with the objection, or the objective of our objection, but the objective of the protection of consolidated revenue. So what will the result really be? There will in fact be an increase in the ATO's red tape, because the accountant's involvement will need to increase to make sure that the figures are indeed right. People will not be lodging directly with the ATO in most cases. They'll be wanting to get somebody involved to check the figures. This processing role by the accountants will really expand as the SBR, the Standard Business Reporting, and the Single Touch Payroll measures are understood by clients, and the danger of not getting it right. So really, the conversation that Jeff wants to have about the data can really be summarised as this. Due to the SBR codes in the accounting software and the Single Touch Payroll system, the data means greater scrutiny, and it means that the ATO can do greater and real-time audits. So what that data means is they're going to say $500 million, they think, but the reality is it's going to cost them an extra $500 million. More about this in my next segments, and you'll see where it's going, and you'll see in the final part about where I believe to be the final way things are with the ATO. But for now, I'm Paul Shepherd for the Online Radio Network.